Yeah, Madeline Korzenewski shows us how the Wounded Warriors Project in Dixon is working to change and save lives every day.
I was patrolling a rooftop in Baghdad, Iraq, when a RPG, a rocket-propelled grenade, landed near me, and the blast of it separated my dominant left arm from my body. And I thought I was going to die, but I survived.
Danielle Green was 24 years old and 15 months into her Army career when an explosion changed her life.
When I arrived, they welcomed me home and they provided me with a book bag, and that book bag was a promise that whatever you need, we got your back.
After months of recovery at Walter Reed, Green said the hardest part wasn't healing physically, it was finding herself again. Wounded Warrior Project became part of that journey.
Because I had an identity crisis. I was no longer a Notre Dame basketball player, no longer a military police officer, but who am I?
Wounded Warrior Project says 76% of warriors report pain affecting daily life. 77% report PTSD symptoms.
They're going back into civilian life. Their families dealing with a lot, physically, mentally. So what we want to do is support those folks that have protected us.
Supporters say every dollar raised Saturday helps veterans and families facing those challenges long after their service ends.
They gave me a platform to share my story, to not be in the darkness, but to bring light to veterans who are coming home.
Today, Wounded Warrior Project provides more than 18 programs helping post 9/11 veterans recover physically, mentally, and financially. Support, Green says, changed her life.
You know, purpose didn't find me. I slowly built purpose over time.
In Dixon, I'm Madeline Korzenewski.
With the funds raised tonight, those will help provide veterans with mental health care, physical wellness, long-term rehab, financial stability, and community connection.
Good cause there.